the first of my 2014 winter anime first impressions. Today I'm going to be talking about Hamatora, which premiered this past week, so let's get started. Set in the year 2014, a select group of people are known as minimum holders thanks to their supernatural abilities that can be used once the holder has met a certain condition. For example, one character can see all of the muscles in a human's body, but first he must remove his eye patch. Hamatora is the name of a detective agency comprised of duo Nice and Murasaki, two minimum holders who seem to have completely different personalities. They, as well as a handful of other colorful folks, spend their time at Nowhere Cafe taking on oddball jobs to pay the bills. Examples including, but not limited to, being a bodyguard, unlocking rich people's safes, and helping out the police with unsolved murder cases. So let's not sugarcoat anything and start off by saying that Hamatora's got a few glaring flaws. The entire premise oozes unoriginality and seems like nothing more than a bunch of pretty people with neat powers doing cool things and teasing one another in ways that make them easily shippable. One of the biggest hurdles Hamatora is going to need to overcome is making the chemistry between the two main characters more convincing. The episode takes numerous occasions to remind us that they're a super renowned and fearful duo. However, when they're facing off against the episode's baddie, they're merely sharing the scene as opposed to actually fighting together. Now you can argue that it was their strong individual skills coming together to take down the baddie, but it honestly just didn't feel very believable and like there wasn't enough evidence to make the statement that had been shoved in our faces throughout the entire thing feel concrete. But what could potentially be Hamatora's saving point is the fact that it doesn't seem like it wants to be set away from the pack. Yes, it's following a tired old formula, but it seems to be having a heck of a lot of fun doing it by not taking itself too seriously. You honestly don't have to think too hard while you're watching it because most of the information is verbally fed to you on a neon-colored spoon, but the random flashes of text and out-of-context information keeps you enough on your toes that you do have to pay at least a little bit of attention. The detective mystery side of the episode was fun enough to watch unfold, and in my opinion, had a pretty amusing and totally gifable payoff. Though I will say that the interwoven story aspect of the whole thing was basically just a really flimsy excuse to have all the main dudes show off their minimums. Which, by the way, were pretty freaking awesome, even if Darker Than Black did do it better, and not all of the reveals were as effective as I think the writers were hoping they would be. As for the cliffhanger reveal at the end of the episode that there's a serial killer out for minimum holder blood, I completely understand any eye rolls that could cause if it's an attempt to be super edgy and intellectual and deep, because it's horrible writing if that's the case. Way to blow your load right off the bat, yo. But it could also be another instance of Hamatora just not giving a shit and being like, YOLO, here's our hand, now let's be pretty and fight in battles and show off our minimums and neon colors and stuff. Now at the moment, I am totally unopposed to having the series be the latter, because I seriously, honestly, really do not think that Hamatora is trying to be mind-blowingly deep. And if it turns out it is, and it's just super stupid, well, watching adorably, really pretty drawn 2D characters battle with awesome powers is never a day wasted in my book. When it comes to the rest of the writing, the dialogue is pretty straightforward, but it did have some witty, funny lines and scenes to add a bit of flair to it. Birthday throwing his chicken leg into the glove compartment was just wonderful. The characters may not be ingenuitive at all, however, there's enough personality there that they could easily grow to be more endearing. Nice's introduction of trying to withdraw coins from an ATM was pretty fantastic, and oh my goodness, the adorable little girl who goes all starry-eyed at the thought of hamburger rain. I just want to cuddle her. Animation-wise, I personally loved the style of Hamatora, specifically the character designs and the neon coloring of it. I wasn't a huge fan of the infrared overlay style that flashes up whenever a character uses their minimum, mostly because the first time it happened, it was hella confusing. But by the time Nice showed up and showed off his sound minimum, it didn't bug me quite as much. So maybe you just gotta get used to it. Music-wise, the soundtrack throughout the episode I thought was really fantastic and I loved it. The opening and ending songs didn't really stick with me that much, weren't anything impressive or, great about them. But I did love the opening animation of the opening. That's redundant, but I really liked it. Major Persona 4 vibes. Don't know if anybody else felt that, but this girl did. So overall, Hamatora will not appeal to everybody, especially especially those viewers who are looking for a refreshing and intellectually stimulating anime. However, I found it to be a fun blend of Durarara, Project K, Darker Than Black, and X-Men, so there's that. That might get you to want to watch the first episode at least. It's definitely my current anime guilty pleasure of the season, and I'm looking forward to watching more, if only because I love the style of it and want more nice on my screen. I have a thing for anime boys in over-the-ear headphones, apparently. Looking at you, Misaki. If you pretty otter faces would like to watch Hamatora and don't want to wait to see stylish boys with superpowers, there is a link in the description down below to take you to a free 14-day trial of a Crunchyroll Premium membership where you can watch this great guilty pleasure, you know, some people will probably say it's not so great, but I love it, series. There. I didn't know how to end that. Okay guys, that is it for my first impression of Hamatora. Let me know in the comments down below what your feelings on this series are so far. A lot of people are pretty meh about it because it is kind of meh, but it made me smile like a dummy the entire time I was watching it, so I like it. If you would like any more of the silliness, I don't know why I'm talking like this, but if you would like more of this, you can find all of my social media links in the description down below, including Facebook, Tumblr, Instagram, I'm getting through this, Twitter, my anime list, Hummingbird, Crunchyroll profile, all of those are down in the description. I hope you're having a fantastic day, and I'll talk to you later. Bye-bye! Today I'm going to be talking about... For example, when it comes to the rest of the, what even is that? When it comes to the rest of the writing, the dialogue is pretty straightforward, but it did some Mr. Popo. But plain. Nice as intro. What is that noise?